I understand Epstein as a favor bank financial fixer for private funds and secret intelligence agencies. And this is something that I really think is an important moment for people to understand. Take BlackRock, okay? BlackRock is the largest asset manager on planet Earth, $10 trillion of assets under management. As I think we've talked about in the past, Manny, the chairman of the BlackRock Investment Institute is a guy named Tom Donilon. He's also the vice chairman of BlackRock. He was the national security advisor for Barack Obama. So he was the Marco Rubio equivalent for Barack Obama. And it proudly says on his BlackRock bio that he won the CIA's Director Award. Now, the New York Times reported that Joe Biden did not first ask Bill Burns to be his CIA director. He asked Tom Donilon. But Tom Donilon had just joined BlackRock and said no to CIA director. Instead, I'm going to be the vice chairman of BlackRock. Obviously, it makes a lot more money. You know, you're making about $250K with no outside ability to make income as CIA director. I can only guess what the vice chairman of BlackRock is making. But the fact is, BlackRock's deal-making decisions, its portfolio investments, the currencies it goes long on or shorts, the debt instruments that it scoops up, they compete in a market. And that market is determined by who has access to inside information. And whoever can trade on national security secrets before the market can wins the market. And everything else that goes up on the basis of that, they get in early and they get out before the bottom drops because they know from the inside what the U.S. government is doing. Like Wayne Gretzky said, you skate to where the puck is going. If you know that the Department of War is about to invade Iraq, if you know that the Central Intelligence Agency is about to topple the government of Belarus, if you know that the State Department is about to sanction, the banks in Nigeria, well, then you know, but way before the market does, to invest in oil pipeline infrastructure or the companies that you know are going to get the contracts for that oil in Iraq. You know to short the currency of Belarus. You know to, basically, short financial institutions in Nigeria. And this is exactly what we see in dozens of these Epstein files emails. The Lord Mandelson scandal that's playing out right now in the UK is an inside access story where quite literally you have the finance minister who is administering a bailout that is dominating the news, giving advance knowledge to the guy with a huge fund who can trade that market overnight way before while the market is still hesitant because they don't want to bet one way or the other because it's high magnitude. Entire currencies could fall. Entire countries could go into default, or they could get saved, and you don't know whether to take a big bet one way or the other. Well, if you know as a matter of certain fact that from the person doing that classified deal, then you get to make a huge amount of money in the market. And you also, and what I'm saying is this is the same thing that played out in the late 1970s, early 1980s, where you had this web of private financiers and intelligence agencies serving the highest levels of government. This is what played out with deals in the Middle East. I've documented many cases of that as well, even beyond Epstein. This is what was happening in the 1990s during all the accords around Camp David. This is within the special economic opportunity zones that were being set up in countries if they did a certain amount of business with Israel at the behest of the United States. You need a fixer class to arrange those transactions, to herd the cats of donors. And there's an amazing audio file where Jeffrey Epstein was secretly recording the man who was then the head of the Israeli military, longtime friend Ehud Barak, who Epstein surely would have known of, if not worked directly, in the 1980s while he was working on the extended BCCI transactions and Iran-Contra related transactions, because Ehud Barak 40 years earlier, 35 years earlier, was the head of Israeli military intelligence then. But what you have is a secretly recorded audio tape from 2013 where Ehud Barak is still the Minister of Defense, their equivalent of Secretary of War, their equivalent of Pete Hegseth. He's still running the Israeli military. But 1 month later, he will leave and go private and make millions in the private sector as a private businessman, a civilian now. And before he goes and makes the jump, he has a conversation with his fixer, Jeffrey Epstein, who tells him, stop marketing yourself about, how good you are at doling out government contracts for the best tanks or Iron Dome type stuff. Nobody cares about what you're good at. The only thing that matters is who owes you favors. I want you to create a human index of IOUs, people who owe you something. They owe you a job. They owe you their life because you helped them out of something. They owe you a favor. Every important government agency, State Department, Central Intelligence Agency, Department of War, USAID, people do not make decisions on the basis of what's best for this country. They make it on the basis of what's best for the favor bank. And this Jeffrey Epstein fixer class is that sticky glue between effectively the parties you're making favors for and yourself. And the fact is because he represents that, people want to do favors for Jeffrey Epstein. What you see in these Epstein files are extremely the highest level government officials in multiple countries going out of their way to keep Epstein informed, to give him private access. You saw Kathy Rumler, the White House counsel, the top lawyer for Barack Obama, leaking things, even saying completely non-public things that an award she won from the Central Intelligence Agency, which is still not public to this day. But she told Jeffrey Epstein just hours after she got it from John Brennan. And this is something that Kathy Rumler then gets hooked up to represent the Rothschild Bank in the private sector after she leaves government. Her job's making $200K a year with no opportunity for outside consulting gigs, sitting on boards, sinecures, fellowships. How much do you think she made as a Rothschild banker, corporate lawyer? And by the way, even then she negotiated a favorable settlement for the Rothschilds on the basis of a Bank Secrecy Act she appears to have played a role in that was set up by the Obama Justice Department while she was the White House counsel. So it's like the things that she's involved with in government are a favor to those on the outside. She's doing favors for sweet talking the fixer, and then she goes to directly profit herself